We live in a paradox in the modern world. Our surroundings are filled with endless sources of pleasure, yet nothing ever feels enough. The excitement of a new phone lasts only a few weeks. A like on social media sparks a fleeting joy, only to fade moments later. We want more, always more. But why? The answer lies deep within the brain, in a tiny chemical messenger that compels us to chase rewards, dopamine. Sometimes, this chemical turns us into a traveler chasing illusions, a mirage in the middle of the desert, like soil desperate for water. No matter how much it rains, it never feels satisfied. This is the dopamine trap, a constant search, an endless cycle. Dopamine is the foundation of our brain's reward system. It helps us survive by reinforcing behaviors that keep us alive. When our ancestors found and ate a sweet fruit, dopamine was released in their brains, a signal that whispered, "Do this again." Eating, drinking, being with the people we love. All these basic pleasures are shaped by dopamine. In short, dopamine is a compass, guiding us toward what feels good. But its role isn't just to store rewards, it pushes us into action. Let's say you crave chocolate. That rising urge, that's dopamine. As dopamine is released, your brain sends a message. Get up, walk to the kitchen, take it. That's why it's often called the molecule of motivation. It isn't about happiness, it's about wanting, it's about moving. If dopamine is lacking, it's hard to feel any desire at all. Even getting out of bed becomes a challenge. Dopamine is like an invisible hand, pulling us toward the things we desire. Dopamine is often called the happiness chemical, but it's not happiness, it's desire. It's the spark behind wanting, not the peace of having. When we crave something, when we chase it, dopamine fills us with that electric anticipation. But when we finally get it, the joy doesn't last. It flickers, then fades, and almost instantly we set our sights on something new. This is why dopamine doesn't offer lasting happiness. Instead, it feeds a quiet emptiness, a restless hunger. The brain registers the reward, dopamine spikes, and then it falls, fast. Neuroscientists say dopamine is connected to wanting, not liking. The pleasure of having something is not dopamine's job. Its purpose is to push us to chase, not to enjoy the prize once it's caught. Dopamine doesn't make us happy. It keeps us running, endlessly. It's like chasing the treasure beneath a rainbow. You move closer, but the treasure moves too, just out of reach, always just ahead. That's the trick dopamine plays. You chase, you reach, but satisfaction doesn't stay. And maybe that's why even when you reach your goals, the joy never settles, because deep inside, you're already hunting again. One of the places where the dopamine trap hits hardest today is the digital world. Why can't we stop reaching for our phones? Why do we endlessly scroll through Instagram? Why do we feel a pull even when we're not expecting anything? Because smartphones have become digital syringes injecting dopamine straight into our brains. Every notification, every message, every like sends a tiny jolt of reward, and we keep reaching, again and again and again. Dr. Anna Lemke from Stanford calls smartphones the hypodermic needle of the modern world. Flashing colors, buzzing alerts, endless content loops. They are all carefully designed to hijack the brain's reward system. And the result? We find ourselves trapped in our screens, not because we enjoy it, but because we can't stop. Social media is like a slot machine. Each swipe, each refresh, is a pull of the lever. Sometimes we get a funny post, a small win. Other times it's dull, a blank return. This unpredictability fuels dopamine even more, because the brain loves the unknown. It loves the maybe. The possibility of something exciting keeps us hooked. Just like a gambler waiting for the next big win, we keep scrolling hoping to feel something. Studies show that social media notifications can create dopamine spikes similar to addictive drugs. Each time we check our phones, we get a little hit of excitement, but soon that hit isn't enough. But there's more. Digital stimulation overwhelms the brain. Have you ever felt tired or strangely empty after scrolling for too long? That's not just mental fatigue, it's a chemical response. After a flood of dopamine, the brain tries to regain balance, so it pulls the brakes. It cuts back on dopamine production. It dulls the receptors. And when that happens, your threshold for pleasure rises. The little things lose their taste. Simple joys start to feel numb. Everything seems fine while you're still in the app, but the moment you close it, something feels off. A strange hollowness settles in, an emotional echo. This is dopamine withdrawal. After the highs, the brain enters a state of reward scarcity. You don't feel alive. Not really. So what do? You reach for your phone again. Not because it helps, but because it promises to make the emptiness go away. Even just for a second. And just like that, the cycle continues. There's another trap that deepens the dopamine cycle: hedonic adaptation. It means we get used to pleasure quickly. We are built to adapt. And while that helped us survive, it quietly sabotages our happiness. Something brings us joy, a new experience, a long-awaited reward, and for a while, it feels incredible. But slowly, that feeling fades. What was once exciting becomes normal. What once thrilled us becomes background noise, and our happiness returns to its default setting. Psychologists call this the hedonic treadmill. You keep running, but you never arrive. Think about it. You finally get the promotion you've dreamed of, or the phone you've been saving for. At first, you feel powerful, excited, fulfilled. But weeks pass. The job becomes routine. The phone becomes just a phone. The thrill is gone, and your mind begins to wander. What's next? What's better? The more we adapt, the more we crave. And dopamine joins the chase. The same reward, when repeated, no longer gives the same rush. So the brain says, "This isn't enough. I want something new." We fall into a loop, not because we are greedy, but because we are wired for novelty. And the modern world feeds that wiring. Ads, posts, products, all whispering, "You need more." And we believe it. So we wait for the next thing, for the next version, for something brighter. But there's another reason why this loop is so powerful. Our brains don't just crave pleasure, they crave uncertainty. We become addicted to not knowing what comes next. Each notification, each swipe, carries a question. What if this one makes me feel something? And that "what if" keeps us coming back. We're not just chasing entertainment, we're chasing sensation. We want to feel, even if what we feel is temporary, because feeling something, even briefly, feels better than silence. The digital world tricks us into thinking we're being seen, heard, validated. Every like, every view, every mention gives us the illusion of mattering. But it fades, and when it does, the emptiness returns. So we chase again, not because we're weak, but because our minds have been trained to fear the stillness that might actually heal us. Until one day, we start to wonder, if dopamine is always driving us forward, is there ever a way to truly feel satisfied? Can this cycle be broken? Is there a way out of this endless pull, this constant need for more, as if satisfaction is always just beyond the next moment? To be trapped in the dopamine loop is to feel far away from peace. But maybe the real question isn't how much we want, but when do we truly feel full? And maybe the answer is simpler than we think. Deeper too. Because the path to inner peace rarely begins with more. It begins with less noise, less chasing, less distraction. The force behind dopamine is shaped by the signals we absorb from the outside world. Notifications, adverts, voices. Everything around us whispers, "You're not enough unless you have more." But what if true satisfaction has nothing to do with the next thing? What if it begins with the sound of water flowing, the rustle of leaves in a quiet forest, or simply sitting in the stillness without trying to change it? This is the practice of awareness. And awareness is the first step out of the loop. To be aware is to live inside the present moment, fully. Not chasing, not planning, not regretting, just being. Because if the mind keeps running toward the future, we miss the only place where life actually happens, now. In every breath, in every quiet second, there is space to return. And when we return, the chase fades. Because the search for pleasure can only blind us from something far more lasting. Meaning. Pleasure fades, but meaning anchors us. So what is meaning? It's not found in what we get, but in how we experience. It's not in the reward, but in the presence. It's not something out there. It's something we awaken within. True meaning is born from self-discovery, from slowing down, from listening not to the world, but to the quiet voice within. And when we learn to sit with ourselves, when we accept that everything outside is temporary, a shift begins. We start to see clearly. We start to feel whole. Not because the world gave us something, but because we remembered what we already hold inside. Awareness is power. Even when things outside feel broken, there is still a place within us that can hold peace. The dopamine trap may be one of the greatest obstacles to finding that peace, but it's not unbreakable. With each moment of presence, with each breath of stillness, we step closer to ourselves. And when we let go of the chase and fully arrive in the now, transformation begins. That is the real reward. Because inner peace was never outside of us. It was always here, waiting, in this very moment, right now.